What's up, guys? I'm Lionel the Builder, back again with another video, and I'm here with a very special guest. She has worked for NASA, she's worked for Microsoft, and she did this without completing her degree at a university. She also has her own business. She's one of our mentors for Code and Chill at the Digital Builders, STEM Lighten. Please, everyone, give a round of applause for Ayanna Smalls. Woo! So please tell us like a bit of your story and how you became this amazing tech young woman. How did you do it?
Yeah, so I actually didn't take the traditional route into getting into tech. Right after high school, I actually went to community college instead of going the straight university route. And through that, I actually wasn't your typical straight A student or computer kid.
Mm-hmm.
I'm actually wasn't very computer focused for a long time. I was a science kid, but I picked the computer track based on the type of life I wanted to have when I finished my degrees.
Okay.
And so I struggled a bit the first half of college. I went to community college for a reason. But through there, I kind of found my stride and my spark through teaching STEM to kids. So my very first job out of high school was when I started college, and I was a STEM instructor. I taught all engineering principles to kids from pre-K all the way up to, I think, 18 years old.
How'd you get into that?
It was actually one of those situations where you just see something and you go for it. So there was a very small franchise that was set outside of where I used to live with my parents. I'm not gonna say their name, but it was a kid-focused business to where you could either take your kid to Chuck E. Cheese, or we could find a really fun way for them to enjoy time with their friends while also teaching them skills that will help them get into college programs.
Oh.
And we'll start them super young. And because I was that STEM kid, like I was that kid who would rush to school, rush home after school to watch Mythbusters and do all that stuff, science kits.
You make slime?
No, I was worse. I wasn't a slime kid.
Oh, okay.
I was a kid that had batteries and wires in her room, and I would like hook stuff up.
Oh, wow.
And then they'd make sounds, they'd sizzle.
You're like Bill Nye, the science girl.
I was always on punishment, and so I always had stuff in my room to play with.
Oh, okay.
I chose to kind of figure out how they worked. I'd break them apart, I'd build them, I'd make new stuff out of them. I wouldn't exactly pay attention or follow the rules that were set, but I worked with a lot of that stuff just for fun.
Oh, okay.
And so when I found the business, I immediately said that, like, if this is a job that I'm going to take, if I have to get any job, I'd rather work here. Too young to be Bill Nye. YouTube wasn't that big, and neither was his huge social media following behind what you're doing, unless you're like a makeup influencer at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I just wasn't into that stuff. And so I chose that job, and that job carried me all the way out until I actually got to university. And from there, that kind of helped me decide on what track I was going to go for. So I chose to go and do computer science at community college. There's a huge learning curve for that, so grades are up and down. But I definitely put the pedal to the metal halfway through my first semester and started looking at all the opportunities that was presented. And it was very by chance, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
NASA had put a flyer on the wall, and I wasn't exactly looking for an internship, but I just decided to apply for it. I had all the credentials that fit. I just kind of enjoyed science, so whatever they gave me, I was going to be cool with. And that's how I got into NASA.
Oh.
And based on the way I talked and the things I already had on my resume prior, because I also did a lot of intelligence programs in high school on my free time. It was on my resume. They kind of took me without a formal interview because I already had certain skills that they wanted to use.
Mm-hmm.
And then from there, they just kind of let me pick and do what I wanted to do. And so I chose to be a virtual reality and augmented reality developer. And then I worked on all their projects. We even linked up for one of the projects that missions that happened a couple years ago. And we developed some, without saying too much, we developed some of the software and hardware for it and prototypes for that to happen.
Oh, wow.
Just for fun. And then they let me come back another year and offered me a job before I finished community college. I ended up turning it down because although I had a lot of fun at NASA, I made sure that while I was at NASA, I learned everything I could from everybody on campus. And when I say I turned over every rock, I turned over every rock. Like, that was my thing on campus. They'd joke on me for. If there's a door, I would literally open it. If there's a switch, I would literally flip it. There's one time they put us in a plane in the hangar that was operational, and then they let me in the pilot's area. I flipped every switch. They're like, why is the plane moving? Why are the wings moving? I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. Like, I took everything I could from NASA. Ended up turning down that job. And because I felt like there was some better opportunity and I'd gotten everything out of it. And then by then, I had gone straight into university and I was still working the engineering teaching job.
Okay. And so you were studying computer science in university?
No. So while I went to university, sometimes I do too much. But while I went to university, I was also still going to school at community college. So I had double the credits and I was working the whole time. And so I was getting my computer science degree along with my computer engineering degree with another minor in computer science to see if there's something else that university could teach me different from community college. There's not. If it's computer science, they're going to teach you the same thing. It's just more of the paper saying that you can open more doors with it. And then I also took on electrical engineering just to see the difference based on what type of jobs I could get at the very end.
Okay.
I ended up dropping electrical engineering my last year, but
why was that?
There's just no point after a while. It wasn't worth the stress. COVID had hit already. We were already under enough stress. I was doing schooling online. I was just ready to graduate, if I'm being honest. And I would have had to take 2 more classes to finish my electrical engineering degree. And to have 2 computer science degrees, a computer engineering degree and an electrical engineering degree didn't make sense when all you really need as an engineer is just your engineering degree and certifications.
True.
And to get in the right doors. And so I dropped it.
Can you give tips on how to get into the right doors?
Yeah. So one of the best things that I learned while I was at NASA was how to open doors, how to get people's attention, how to make a name for yourself. And while that was probably the last job that I really, really had in person, the best way to get it done is to just network, be amongst the people, have a product that you can really speak on and talk about, and always show it off. And when that doesn't work, because some companies are so big that people don't know each other, literally open those doors. Like, I mean, I've gone to different areas in the facility that I was allowed to as an intern, and I was just knocking on doors. People in the tech field, when they're in person, sometimes they're dying to talk to somebody because we sit at screens all day.
Yeah.
And so just talk to them. Next thing you know, they say they'll tell you that they have some issue, or they'll have something that they're working on that they're looking for other people or expertise on, and then they'll create a job for you if they feel like you could do it. Sure. Or you can create a job for yourself and just help out. You're already on NASA's campus. You're already there. You already made it. And so anywhere else, people aren't really going to give you your job. You have to convince them that you're kind of worthy of it, and then show them why you're an asset to them. And sometimes it doesn't take much. Sometimes it's just the effort that they're looking for.
Yeah.
So I specifically learned that from NASA. I've always been a go-getter, but NASA, because it's so big, the act of driving across campus just to knock on one person's door because you heard a story about them can take you very far.
True. And then, so I'm trying to keep up with the timeline here. So after...
Oh, this is all the first year.
Oh, wow. So you have a lot. Okay.
This is all the first year. I was 19 or 18 or 19.
Wow.
Fresh out of high school. Having a lot of fun, but I was a baby, pretty much.
Dude, you were off to a good start, man. I don't even want to think about what I was doing at 19.
I mean, I liked science, whatever I could play with. I remember we would sit at the NASA facility And there's one dude who was interested in barcodes. And they would just show us all that they were working on with barcodes. We sat 30 minutes listening to how barcodes work. Just because people want to talk.
Wow.
It's fun. And then because I developed for AR and VR, a lot of our stuff was on gaming headsets and softwares. So we would create video games and we would create, play with different video games and test them out. And then once we had them, other people on campus who were like on their lunch break or in between meetings or at a slow day, they would come over and play with our stuff. They would ask more questions. And our whole point in doing it was more of to save the facility money for testing. And so everybody has a project. And everybody wants something new to bring to the table. So every time we were there for the summers, and some of us got extended through the years, like we were the hotspot. They ended up making a web page for our specific area. And the funny part is that wasn't our office. We actually had an office somewhere like off on campus. We just didn't feel like sitting in there. We kind of commandeered a common room.
Oh wow.
And didn't let other people work there.
Turned it up, made it the fun spot.
We made it the hot spot.
True.
You grab lunch, grab your chicken tenders, and you come over to our side. And these are like grown adults, like 45 and up. The traditional ones are like, you can't have tattoos, you can't have colored hair. They all have colored hair and tattoos. And they like playing video games with us. It was fun.
What's up? So you like turning, like making things a hot spot. I remember you did that here at Assembly too, pretty much. So that became your thing.
It's always been my thing.
That's what's up.
I'm a community person. I like having that village around me. True. I've always had to build it. So why not make it fun? And usually I'm the one who brings the energy around my like immediate family and circle. I can bring that everywhere too.
True. Yeah, you do a lot of stuff at your apartment too, or different like. Or you've had a few things. I'm always just like out of town.
I've had a lot of parties.
yeah. Well, then what'd you do after NASA?
After NASA, I was at university and community college. From there, I worked that engineering teaching job all the way up into COVID, which is probably a year and a half. And I just kept going back and forth to NASA during that time. The last time I didn't go back when they had offered the job, it was around the time COVID hit, I think. And then Microsoft had started this new teaching program for computer science. This is before everybody graduated to online learning. This is like the very first trial of it. I think it was called like the Teal program. They don't have it anymore. But it's more of a volunteer program to where you can go to different schools in the Midwest virtually. And you teach their whole computer science curriculum online.
Oh, wow.
And then it was through Microsoft. So you get the Microsoft title, you get their curriculum, and then just like I'm teaching younger kids, just engineering principles on their level, I get to level up and I'm starting to talk about programming and how you can use programming and how fun it can be and where you can take it career-wise. For these kids that may or may not appreciate it now, but I've learned with every group of students, even though the majority may not appreciate it, there's always that one kid that either deeply connects to it or either deeply needs the attention or they don't know that that's their thing yet. And then within every class, they always pop out by the end. So that's kind of what I got with that one. I was there for probably a couple months because they didn't pay us and they wanted us to wake up at 6 a.m.
Oh, wow.
That wasn't happening with me. Did that for a couple months. Yeah. And then working the engineering with kids job. While that was at Microsoft, because of COVID, my first job went out of business, which sucked because that was like where everything started. Like we had so many kids that just bloomed in those classes. And I had I used to joke around with my coworkers all the time. I was like, yeah, I work with kids here and there. And I was like, I like my kids. Y'all kids are fine. But like these kids. And they're always those troubled students that can't pay attention in class. I used to love those kids. Because they always used to go above and beyond with everything. I had one kid that spent, I think, 3 days building this full roller coaster from scratch out of like it wasn't Lego pieces, but it was some kit. It was huge.
Mm.
And he was 6 and did it all by himself. He used to like doing those things for fun. And the way that he would respond to the curriculum in class was just amazing. But this kid was always put out of his class in school. Like, I mean, written up all the time.
Wow.
And he's slapped a couple people in our facility. But he was smart.
One of those crazy geniuses.
Oh, yeah.
Like a Kanye type of kid.
Oh, yeah. But he was really fun. I hope he does really well in life. But after that, the business had shut down. I signed up for another program. When I was in high school, I did a program that took me to college campuses, and all we did was learn robotics for a full week. The programming, the building, the design concept from scratch, beginning to finish.
Wow.
Because of COVID, they went online, so I became an instructor for them because I was an alumni. And I started running these classes back to back. They had started the video game development part of it, and I was already deep into that because of NASA. And so I used everything I had there to kind of pick up this new version of what I was teaching kids. And my class actually became one of the more popular classes because of how I was used to teaching, like just bringing clientele from there. So I worked that job for a very long time because their hours were extremely flexible and it was online. I worked that one all the way up to college, the end of college, until I got the job with my current company. Is timeline right? I've had a lot of jobs that overlap. I know I got my internship with my current company, and because I do too much sometimes, I had graduated community college, but I was still in university, and I was still working the game design job. And then I had started my summer internship with a company that I am currently working at.
Oh, okay.
And that is how I got into cloud. So these opportunities, because I just like tech and I like science, I'm willing to get whatever they offer me and then take what I like and then give back what I dislike and pivot from there. I just so happen to hit the jackpot because I like cloud now.
What is it about the cloud engineering that you like so much?
This might sound a little bit backwards, but I don't like coding. And so,
I can relate.
Yeah, with cloud, like it's more of a concept, building out that concept and the filling in the pieces that you need. Because I was early on in my career, I still had to code, but you can pick and choose how you decide and pick and choose how you want to get it done. And still during this time, AI hadn't exactly spiked. So we were all doing things manually. We were looking at like web pages, Reddits, coding books. We were getting our information the traditional way, like YouTube videos. We weren't getting AI assistants kind of go through our programming for it.
Sure.
And then so I started getting on the basic foundations of what it was like to be a cloud engineer and what was necessary for working with other companies. So my first project was more of a migration project. And then we had to build our platform from scratch and then build our actual infrastructure and planning from scratch and get it done within 3 months with the team.
Oh, wow.
So it's kind of a crash course as to what you're going to be doing once you get the job, of course. And so, yeah, that's how I got into my current company. It's funny because when I say go and get your job, like open the door for yourself, our mentor that was there the very first day, he's like, so what do you guys want from this internship? What are you guys looking for? And it was like, oh, I just want to, see what's out there. I'm hoping to like make a good network. I'm like, I want a job.
Straight up paycheck.
I was like, I want a job. I'm looking for a job. And he's like, oh, okay. Long story short, I was the only person who got a job.
Oh, wow.
So the moral of that is, if you want it, go get it. Don't be scared to say what you want. Don't be scared to go for what you want. Don't make excuses for what you want, especially when you're I also wasn't in person. This was all a virtual situation. There's no in-person rapport. I'm getting to know the person on the side. Is you have your screen time and then you're done. And I hate to say it, but when you were working virtually, you hope you have more relationship with these people, but you're kind of just a number. And just like most people close their laptop at 5, they're gonna close their laptop on you at 5 too. So if you want it, go get it. There are no hard feelings. Just don't be an idiot about it. Like, you know, basic common sense and how you operate with people. Like, be a good person. Right, but, like, go for what you want.
Yeah, you gotta have those soft skills and, like,
soft skills.
Vibes are super important. What I noticed with, like, jobs and opportunities and stuff like that, you know. Sometimes, and that could be sad sometimes, where like a person, like I know a few people who are super geniuses, super talented, but lack skills in the communication side of things, you know, and I've watched them, a lot of them, you know, send me messages and stuff like, bro, how? You know what I mean? I'm like, maybe you should learn how to, like, you know, communicate a little better. You know what I mean? Like, work on that a little bit, especially when you talk about like the coders who like you really like call them my basement bros out there. You know what I mean?
They do good work.
Yeah,
do good work.
Right, but they could sometimes be like not the best communicators. Yeah, but so in government contracting, we haven't gotten there yet, or have we?
Almost, because once I got the job, I was officially in government contracting.
Okay.
Or government consulting.
Oh, okay.
I guess.
And what is like the day-to-day, or like what are the problems that you solve, or like what's involved in that?
Not to say too much, because the government, but more of an overview. From my personal experience, and without putting like sugarcoating it, because I'm in tech and you work with government, there's a lot of locked doors. So you can open your laptop in the morning, you have your objective, what needs to be done, the timeline for it, and all of the steps that you took the day before to get to where you're at. The moment you write your first line of code or Linux, you're going to get an error because you have to go through a lot of permission stuff that's going on in the government.
True.
So you have to get really creative about doing things the right way. When you're working specifically, at least I know in cloud within government, while still meeting a timeline, a deadline, and getting it done. That's the most I can say about the day-to-day.
True. Government seems like it would be a slow snail of a like crawl towards doing things for some reason. I mean, I guess for that reason.
Sometimes it is. It always depends on who you were working with. The effort is always like on pace, but we always have to wait for our green lights for obvious reasons.
True.
You just kind of have to love the actual craft that you're doing because it takes a lot of research. One of the things that comes with it is you're not, whatever YouTube says to do, you can't do. But whatever YouTube says to do or their advice, you can't do it because they're not working on government side stuff. You have to be careful with the AI platforms that you use. We're only allowed to use certain platforms, and you can't put all of the information in there. So it requires a lot of critical thinking to get around what you're doing and to finish the job, which means that you have to build and have a really good team doing all of your work.
That makes sense. So, while you were doing all of these things, when did you start your business with the stem lighting, or was that your first business, or was there a different one?
Funny question, because I've always been business focused since I was like a kid. So I've had a lot of smaller things that I've had to let go of. But STEM Lighten, I have two now that I started. So one is the cloud consulting that I'm working on possibly, and the other one is STEM Lighten that I started my second year of college.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So STEM Lighten started second year of university. Because I just enjoyed the first job that I had and I did it so well. I also brought a lot of clientele into that one studio that we had.
Wow.
Based on word of mouth and parents and what they're getting for their classes. And plus, like I mentioned before, I'm a community and village person and I like to have fun. So we'd have like regular classes and then you'd have my class to where we'd like have a lot of fun and joke around, and then I create some type of college graduation and make the kids graduate and present stuff like that, and they see it as fun. I play music and all that other stuff.
Oh, cool. So you created a job, that job that you like, you basically created it for yourself.
I created
to continue.
I created it for myself. but with more of a niche.
Oh.
So, because that job or that first job I had already existed, I combined both of the two jobs that I had teaching, and then I just kind of tailored it to the current market and how everything was working, especially with the whole COVID situation and things being online.
Mm-hmm.
And then I found a niche market for it. And so I kind of continued from there. So everything that you see STEM Lighting as now was not what it was my second year of college.
Oh, okay.
It's picked up a lot since then.
Mm.
But the process of it has been really fun.
Man.
So before we were doing I was just teaching game development to whoever would listen. And I did a lot of stuff for free. Now we're specifically focusing on college bound children. I believe all kids are college bound. And so I want to set all of them up for success, especially in the career field that I'm already in. But it's for college bound children, and our goal is to help them envision and enlighten. That's what's called STEM Lighten. Some kids don't know that's what they're into until they get to touch it for a bit. And some kids know what it is, but don't understand what it is until they build their first project and complete it. And then they see it from a whole different perspective. Sometimes it's the proudest thing that they've done that summer or sometimes that week. But
didn't that one super genius from the hackathon, did he come? You were teaching him? Wow. Yeah, that was so cool to see a kid that young and that talented. So that's what's up. I can only imagine like how many other kids were there.
Yeah, he actually was my intern for the summer. So he was on my team for the hackathon, where I was building out just some concept of the app that I had. And he was working with me and another group because like he is the youngest kid there. Like we want to give him everything that he can. I made him an intern for the summer, and as I was basically running the whole class, he was getting a smaller version of what I used to do at work, so that he gets all of the coding experience for it. He gets the project-based learning, he gets the resume building, and he gets the full access to the network for his resume.
Man.
And then we help him and the other intern that we had this summer. We help push their resumes through and get them connected to bigger internships for the next summer. And then they can come back for a part-time job during the summer as the instructor that I was and oversee their own classrooms.
Okay.
So we just get those resumes and keep them coming in for new interns.
That's fire, man. I can only imagine what that kid is going to build one day.
I know. I hope he sticks around. The goal is to get him into MIT. So I want him just to stay connected to everybody so that he at least knows who to talk to or who to get to.
True.
Because he doesn't know how far he can go. He does it all for fun.
Wow, man.
Which is the best part.
Yeah, right. Well, before we're getting close to the end, is there anything you want to talk about before we wrap up?
Put me on the spot. Because I talk a lot anyway.
Yeah, we talked about a lot.
Let's see. Look out for Smallest Cloud Consulting.
True.
So that's budding for specifically small businesses. I only want to focus on small businesses. Being within this environment and mixing and mingling with everybody, there's always a hole within small businesses to where either they don't have the finances to build what they need, or they're having a lot of issues with that technology part in the very beginning that kills their ideas. So it's Smallest Cloud Consulting for small businesses specifically. So keep an eye out for it. We handle everything from cloud security to cloud networking, simple to complex migrations, and just building out simple technology solutions for you, which could be e-commerce websites or just a regular website, anything like that.
Okay. Well, you guys heard it here. Links are in the description. We're gonna put STEM Lighting in there as well.
Yes, check out STEM Lighting, especially this summer coming up. We have expanded to more college campuses this year. So if you do have a kid that's anywhere from 5 years old all the way up to 18 this year, get them a class, get them in, and then we can start talking about how to get them to their desired college programs.
Yep. And then, should we LinkedIn if they have any questions for you personally? How can people contact you, or are we staying mysterious?
No, I'll give it to you. So you can find me at LinkedIn at Ayanna J Smalls. You'll see me because I have like the NASA meatball in the background, and I haven't changed it since I left. Just DM me up there, or you can send an email through any of our websites. There's stemlighten.squarespace.com, or there's smallscloudsconsulting.com. And there's always an email link at the bottom. Just send any of your questions.
Word. Well, thank you for coming. That was awesome. That went by fast, super
Very.
quick. And thank you guys for watching. If you made it here to the end, you're a real one. Like, share, subscribe, all the YouTube stuff, and go ahead and join our Discord too. This is Surviving Tech. I'm Lionel the Builder. This is Ayanna Smalls.
Hi.
And we'll see y'all next time. Peace.